This was built in, much earlier. When was this? In the 80s. It was when I was leaving Butler's Wall. Glass House in the Sky. No one lived in the East End then. It was, which I kind of miss actually. I adored that time because the city was quite empty.
Yeah.
You know, where we lived in Glass House in the Sky, literally was just, well, there was printers and people like that around there. It was around the back of Broad Street and Liverpool Street. Our only neighbour was Jock the Tramp, and he lived in the arches underneath, and that was it.
Yeah.
But there was actually at the back, there was Brian Clark, and then there was John Galliano.
Fashion designer?
That's where he's, because he graduated, that's where his little studio was. I'd often see him photographing ladies sort of entwined in ivy against a kind of electrical substation, I remember. And then, but it was so wonderful, it was so quiet. I do like peace. This is very peaceful here.
It is. Yeah.
The three graces. The silver-leafed wood represents the earth. The temple is man's building on the earth. On the top is a volcanic mud pool erupting with flowers, Lenin, bubbles, and $1 million. The Englishman's home is the castle surmounted by $1. It was the huge explosion of kind of capitalism at the end of the 80s. Good thing or bad thing, but it happened, and sadly to say, I think it's brought a lot out. I mean, every day we're seeing it, greed, and it's horrible actually. Because it just brings out man's worst side, really. I mean, money's, you can't take it with you. I mean, why don't we all share it and then have a nice time together? Instead of amassing these huge fortunes, which, don't mean anything. So I'm a bit sad really about it, really.
Well, do you like the artists' bartering system, where creative people...
Oh, yes, well I do that. I've done that for years. I do, besides that kind of bartering, I do portrait swaps. But that's the kind of lifetimes. How many artists have I done now? About 5 or 6.
And they do something for you?
Yeah, so they do my portrait, and I do that.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing to do. Especially portraits, because it's a way of how does an artist see another artist. So I've got some wonderful swaps that way. Oh no, I think swapping is fabulous.
Yes.
Just if you want.
But
they used to do that. I mean,
whoops, am I...
Picasso and all the others, they would, south of France, didn't they? They restaurant, they had no money, so they would just give them a painting.
Oh, yeah, Picasso used to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they all did it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm great friends of Lynn Seymour, a ballerina. She danced with Rudy and contemporary Rudolph Nureyev and all that. Wonderful Canadian, but spent her whole life here in Royal Ballet. But she's the sort of enfant terrible of the ballet world.
Ooh.
And we did 3 ballets together. I designed the costumes and the sets. And this one was called Wolfie. And it was a piece she did inspired by Mozart, because he was such a wild thing. And this was actually came on stage at the very beginning. It was sat in the middle of the stage. It was then pink, actually. And it was wheeled on, and then the lights, so it reflected, everyone could see themselves in this big hand mirror.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I had real fun, actually, with Lynn doing it. We had no money, so I used sculptures and things I had, and
Divine.
yeah. There's a picture of Divi there and Sandra.
Oh yeah, and that's the portrait. You did her portrait there.
A sort of funny portrait, yes, it's actually an early Xerox.
Oh, is it?
And what happened was, I put it in an album, and the Xerox went into the plastic, so it got absorbed into the plastic. So then I put a mirror behind it, and then you got this wonderful kind of faded...
Yeah, memory.
Yes, like a memory, yes. This is my first patron, Thea Porter, here on there. Well, I first met Thea, early 70s, and she designed she made clothes for people like Elizabeth Taylor, Barbra Streisand, the Beatles, you name it.
Yeah.
New York, Paris, wonderful, kind of caftan things, but they were just beautiful fabrics and very glamorous. Thea did very glamorous things. Sadly, she died of Alzheimer's quite young. Very sad. And she used to have the most fabulous dinner parties, writers and musicians. That's Dougie, of course, my lovely friend Dougie Fields. She had this wonderful mirrored dining table. So she sat at the table, and this was a photograph of her reflected in the table. Dougie Fields, yeah, painter. And he's sitting on his own painting. That's his style of painting. And it's early, this one. 80s.
Oh, and this all the way down here. That's his.
That's his shadow. It's the mirrored shadow. This is Bernal Penhall.
They're called transformations?
He was called the Transformer. That's rather lovely. The sun. How is that? The sun is on this face. It's quite this, and then the mirror is coming down and just illuminating the face.
Perfectly.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
Perfectly lit up.
This is him as Miss Galeforce Wind when he won the Alternative Miss World. This is another of his transformations. And this is Bernal as a young man. But he died aged 34. And he was a contemporary of Lee Barry, who everybody knows about. But no one knows about him, Bernal. Bernal Penhall. Wonderful name. Came from North Norfolk. But he was a genius, this boy. Absolute genius. But he could never translate his genius into something else. You know, Lee was a very, very ambitious careerist. So he could translate his work into theatre and music and go way, way beyond. Bernal could ever transform his body, which he did into extraordinary effects. I mean, things I've never seen. They were kind of rivals, actually. It was nice. This is a lady called Fenella Fielding, who was an old friend of mine.
Oh, I love that.
She's wonderful actress, but she's well known for Carry On Screaming. Like Pegasus kind of fountain, and it's supposed to be like fountain, and then this is real. It'd be nice if this was big. Yeah. So this is a maquette. So this would be the water, and this would be with a few of the world's. We seem to have. We've got natural
disaster.
It's a natural disaster. Well, these are things I'm making. Anna here she's cleaning this particular portrait of Joan, a lady called Joan Quinn.
Joan.
An American old friend from Beverly Hills.
Oh.
You see?
Love.
And they're going to be, I'm going to put them on head, no, they're going to be crowns.
Ooh.
Some will be an E, some will be so. Because I do these jewellery performances. Yes, I started with those. Why did I start? My first one was in Russia.
Yeah.
For British Week with Americans in the 80s. And I'd never thought of it before, but they thought it was. Because the work is sculpture, you know, so it was working with this work. Our models, so we got outfits and then they just came out and paraded around to wild music, and then of course the thing grew, and then it became more a performance here. I then got friends like men and women and children and fat and thin and ugly and beautiful, but they all just came on stage modelling in my. So I've done a few like that. It's a very intrusive. I love to include everybody. Very intrusive is one of my strong notes. Really, Alternative Miss World is open to everybody. So these jewelry performances, and the most recent one we did was in my museum in Wales.